Good evening and happy Sabbath. The title of the sermon this evening is The Throne of God. We will start with Exodus chapter 25, verse 8. Exodus chapter 25, verse 8. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them. Have you ever tried to think about how big our universe is? This picture shows about our solar system, and it compares the size of each planet with the sun. Can you see our Earth? How small it is, right? There are many planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So these are the solar system. Do you know how big our solar system is? In 1977, the USA launched two spaceships into the space, and the name was Voyager 1st and the 2nd, and it was 47 years ago. And they are flying to the outside of solar system, and their speed is incredible. Two spaceship has a different speed. For example, Voyager 1st is 61,200 kilometers per hour, but Voyager 2nd is 54,000 kilometers per hour. Anyway, so in the case of Voyager 1st, it flies 15 kilometers per second. So for example, from Colombo to Seoul, where I came from, the distance is 5,500 kilometers, okay? Then if we take plane, it takes around 8 to 9 hours. But by the speed of the Voyager 1st, it just takes 5 minutes. Can you imagine how fast? You know, now after 47 years, now Voyager 1st and 2nd, they recently passed through the boundary of our solar system. Now they entered interstellar space. It took more than 40 years. So how vast our solar system is. And it is now most distant man-made object from the Earth. This picture is very famous that Voyager 1st took. Voyager 1st had completed its primary mission and was leaving solar system and was commanded to take photo our Earth. So it was taken in 1990. So it is like already 35 years ago. And the Voyager 1st took the last photo of our Earth, planet Earth. And you can see how small it is. And it shows, the concept of our Earth, how small it is. We are living in this Earth, on this Earth, a lot of people living, But can you imagine how small we are? In 2020, for the 30th of anniversary of this photo, they edited again and they published again with a more clear image. Now you can see more clearly, right? This is the Earth. How small it is. And we are fighting each other on this planet. And this photo shows about the nearest star from our solar system. Its name is Proxima Centauri. And it is 4.3 light years away from our solar system. As you know, the speed of light is incredible. It flies 300,000 kilometers per second. So with that speed, we have to fly 4.3 years to reach the star. And there is no single star between Sun and Proxima Centauri. So now we can imagine how vast our universe is. This is the nearest star, okay, from solar system. And then this is the center of our Milky Way galaxy. When you go to the remote place where there is no light, and when you look up on the sky during the night, you can see this kind of image, right? There are many, many stars and solar systems in our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. And do you know how big our Milky Way galaxy is? This is the size of galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy. The diameter from left side to the other side, the size of the distance is 100,000 light years. Can you imagine? Fly from this side to the other side, it takes 100,000 light years, not just a year, but light years. And it has 200 billion stars, like Sun and like Proxima Centauri, and 200 billion stars. They are all very, very far from each other. Okay? Can you imagine how our galaxy, how big our galaxy is? This is the nearest galaxy from our Milky Way galaxy, Andromeda. And it is also 2.2 million light years away, very far. Okay? And there are many, many galaxies, many different types of galaxies. And somebody said the million of galaxies in the ball of Big Dipper alone. You know Big Dipper. What is Big Dipper? Okay, so this is 7 stars, and then there is a Dipper. And this is one of the famous images. It shows how big our universe is. It's called Hubble Deep Field. Hubble Deep Field. In 1995, someone tried to focus on the sky in one spot, very small spot where there is no single light found. So they took long exposures photo, and then they found this photo. And this is 3,000 galaxies they found in this photo. 3,000 galaxies in the small area. The area they focused was like a small tennis ball, size of the tennis ball in 100 meters away. So can you see 100 meters away, when you put the tennis ball there, how small it is? Very small area in the sky. And then they focused many days, and then they found this photo, and they found 3,000 galaxies. And then a few years later, in 2003, they developed the Hubble camera again, Hubble telescope, and then they took another photo in the similar case, and then they found this photo. Do you know how many galaxies they found? 10,000 galaxies. Not stars, galaxies in the small area on the sky. Like one dot, right? They focus in a small area with long exposures, and then they found 10,000 galaxies. If now we, have another try with a more developed camera, maybe we can find more galaxies, right? So, can you imagine? Each galaxy is like our Milky Way galaxy. How big they are. And then for those kinds of galaxies are 10,000 in the very small area in the sky. So now scientists said maybe there are around 200 billion galaxies in the sky. And each galaxy also have like 200 billion stars. So somebody said the number of stars is as many as the grains of sand every seashore on earth. Can you imagine how small our earth is? The size of earth is like grain of dust in our galaxy. If we see our earth from the universe, actually we cannot find, how small it is. But in this small, the earth, planet Earth, we are fighting with each other for small things. How shameful we are. Let's go to the Bible. Exodus chapter 1 verse 1 said, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." John chapter 1 verse 3, "All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made." So now, Jesus is the creator of the universe, not only earth, but heavens, the universe. Let's go back to our main text, Exodus chapter 25, verse 8. "And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." Now God is asking to Moses to build a sanctuary. Right? Can you imagine? Why God is asking Moses to make sanctuary? Psalms 11:4 said, "The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven." Right? Lord's throne is in heaven. Again, Psalm 103:19, "The Lord has established his throne in heaven." Right? So, the Lord is staying on the throne of heaven. But one day, he felt uncomfortable in that place. Do you know when it was? It was time when human commits sin. He felt uncomfortable. The heavenly throne was not comfortable for him. Heavenly food was not delicious anymore. Heavenly music was not good for him. He couldn't sit on heavenly throne anymore. So he stood up from his throne and he came down to the earth. And he came to the earth to take great pains with human beings. That's why he asked to make a sanctuary. It was not a good house. It was just tent. But Jesus felt comfortable than his heavenly throne. Psalms 132 verse 13-14 said, "For the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his dwelling place. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it." Brothers and sisters, where is most comfortable place for the parents? It is beside of their children, especially when the children are suffering. The parents they really want to be their children, right? God said that Zion is his resting place forever. Why? Because God so loved us and he couldn't leave us, and he wanted to be with us forever. In 1977, a man named Yang Dong-su was sentenced to death because he killed someone. And his elderly mother, Kim Jang-sun, couldn't bear it. After her son was sent to the prison, she moved her house close to the prison. So he rented a very small room in the village. And he couldn't stand the thought that her son sleeping in the cold cell while he was warm. So even in the freezing winter time, she couldn't put the fire in her room. And when it was minus 10 degrees Celsius, she still didn't warm her room. And also, she only ate rice with soy sauce because her son couldn't have good food. To atone her son's wrongdoing, he did other jobs around the neighborhood. She visited her son as often as she could, and she cried every time when she saw him. She cried so much that she almost went blind. And she told people, "If my son dies, I will die too. When I die, please put honey on my bones and scatter them for the birds to eat." So one of the Buddhist monks heard of her story. And this monk told this story to the higher officers. And then this story was heard to the president. So the president said, "We have to save this mother." So that's why the president gave her son's death sentence was reduced to the life imprisonment. So one day, her son's sentence was reduced. A reporter captured a photo of the mother visiting the prison. So she was happy and relieved with the monk by her side. And after 21 years later, her son was released because his mother's love, and his mother's love saved her son. Our Father in heaven loved us so much, so he came down to this world. Here, the word dwell is very important word. This word is in Hebrew is shakan. Shakan is not just for dwell short time, but it is permanent dwelling. And Shekinah was the word came from shakan, okay, the same word. Shekinah is the splendid glory of God, right, in the holy sanctuary. So it shows us God's manifestation. And then this same word is repeated in John chapter 1:14. And the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So here, dwelt is skenos, shakan, skenos, same word, right? So he came to this world and he tabernacled among men as a human being. And he is Jesus Christ. Philippians chapter 2, verse 6 to 8. Who being in the form of God did not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a bond servant and coming in the likeness of man, and being found in appearance as man, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even the death of the cross. He gave up the glory of heaven, and he became a very little baby instead of his glorious place. He was uncomfortable while human beings are sinners. So he came to this earth as a baby. And he came to a manger instead of palace. And he did hard work for a long time until he was 30 years old. He took our place. And he died on the cross for us. While we were looking for a comfortable place and safe place, Jesus made Bethlehem manger his resting place. Brothers and sisters, where is our place? Jesus came to this earth. The God who created this world came into this world. And James Irwin, the Apollo 15 spacecraft crew, said, God walking on earth is more important than man walking on the moon. The God who made the moon, who made the earth and the sun and stars, the same God walked on earth and lived in this world. Let us go back and think about a sanctuary a little bit. What is the sanctuary? What is the purpose of this tent? It shows how God deals with sin, and it shows how God saved people. So in the sanctuary service, people brought the lamb, sacrificial lamb, when they commit sins. And the sinner put his hand on the head of the lamb and pray. So the sin transferred to the lamb from the sinner. So they slaughtered the lamb, and the lamb died for the sinners. From the Genesis, all the lambs who were sacrificed for human beings point Jesus Christ, who will come to this world to die for all human beings. So, when Jesus came to the Jordan, John the Baptist shouted, "Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." People knew what it means because all they are familiar the sanctuary service, the Lamb carrying the sin. And Jesus now is the one who carries the sin of all human beings. The Creator came to this world to save us. Desire for Ages 48-49. We marvel at the Savior's sacrifice in exchanging the throne of heaven for the manger, and the companionship of adoring angels for the beasts of the stall. Human pride and self-sufficiency stand rebuked in his presence. Yet this was but the beginning of his wonderful condescension. It would have been almost infinite humiliation for the Son of God to take man's nature, even when Adam stood in his innocence in Eden. But Jesus accepted humanity when the race had been weakened by 4,000 years of sin. This was voluntary sacrifice. Jesus might have remained at the Father's side. He might have retained the glory of heaven and homage of the angels, but he chose to give back the scepter into his Father's hand and to step down from the throne of the universe, that he might bring light to the benighted and life to the perishing. In the contemplation of Christ, we linger on the shore of love that is measureless. We endeavor to tell of this love, and language fails us. With our infinite comprehension, we may consider most earnestly the shame and the glory, the life and the death, the justice and the mercy that meet in the cross. Yet, with the utmost stretch of our mental powers, we fail to grasp its full significance. The length and the breadth, the depth and height of redeeming love are but dimly comprehended. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. This is the gospel. This is Jesus Christ. He loved us so much that he came to this world and he take pain for us and he died on the cross. Brothers and sisters, now Jesus is inviting us to give our life to him and to follow his love. May God bless you.